You're watching BBC News and we're live in Washington, D.C. We have here at the White House been following the upcoming visit from the Saudi Crown Prince. But the other story dominating headlines today is the Epstein files. The House of Representatives is set to vote on a measure that would compel the Department of Justice to release the files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. They've been holding a press conference, a Democrat, Ro Khanna, and Thomas Massie, who introduced this measure. He's a Republican, Thomas Massie. And they were accompanied by a group of survivors of the late sex offender. Let's go to Capitol Hill now, where our North America correspondent, Nomia Iqbal, has been following all of the action there this morning. Nomia, very good to see you. Take us through what was said during this press conference, a number of survivors and, of course, those lawmakers speaking.
Sumi, it was such an incredibly powerful conference where you had survivors who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein coming forward and telling us their stories. Some of them have been heard before and they have been very vocal in calling for the files to be released. But we also heard from women who said that they hadn't spoken out before and they had come here to make it known what had happened to them. And as you mentioned there, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, Democrat and Republican, who have together put this bill, this Epstein Transparency Files Act, but they were also accompanied by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. She's a real firebrand, has stood shoulder to shoulder with President Trump since day one, but there's been a massive fallout between her and President Trump on this. President Trump, which she said in the press conference, spent much of his presidential campaign promising to release the files, and now he has spent much of the last year trying to downplay the files, even trying to stop this vote from happening in the first place. And I did ask the three of them that these votes that will take place, so we'll have a vote in the House of Representatives, the Senate will then decide whether to take it up, and then it will go to the president's desk to be signed. But I put to the three of them that actually you don't need legislation to get to this point, that the president could just call on his Department of Justice to release the files. And they said that is what they would prefer him to do, but also this is going to be a very democratic way for it to be done. But the Congresswoman also, Marjorie Taylor Greene, expressed cynicism whether or not all the files would be released. So there's huge pressure building on this moment. As I say, the vote will happen. It'll happen later today, but then it'll be up to the Senate to take it up. And of course, Republicans control the Senate. And then if it passes, Trump will sign it into law. But even then, it could take some time for all the documents, the files, everything, transcripts related to all the Epstein investigations over the last few years to be released. But there was no doubt here, this press conference involving the survivors, we saw Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the most high-profile victims, her brother speak here very emotionally. That has really piled on the pressure on members of Congress to vote in favour of passing this vote.
Yeah, a critical moment today indeed. Okay, Nomia Iqbal at the Capitol for us. Nomia, thank you so much. And we, of course, will be following that vote in the House of Representatives this afternoon. It is, as we said, expected to pass, especially now that the president has said he supports this bill passing, and then it will head, as Nomia said, to the Senate and then to the president's desk. He has indicated he will sign it, but that pressure has been a critical aspect of this story. So we'll have the latest on that for you, and on the Saudi Crown Prince's visit here at the White House coming up in the next hour or two. For now, though, we'll hand it back to Lewis in London.